For decades, Japanese automakers like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan were more than just car brands in the United States. They were household names trusted by millions of American families. Their reputation for building vehicles that were affordable, fuel-efficient, and, above all, reliable, helped them carve out a unique place in the hearts and driveways of Americans from coast to coast. Their cars became a common sight on highways, city streets, and suburban cul-de-sacs. It wasn't just about transportation, it was about a sense of security and value. For many, owning a Japanese car was a rite of passage, a symbol of smart decision-making. It seemed as if their dominance would last forever, with each new model year bringing more innovation and more loyal customers. But today, the automotive world is undergoing a dramatic transformation at breakneck speed. The pace of change is relentless, driven by new technologies, shifting consumer expectations, and global economic pressures. What once seemed stable and predictable is now in flux. Some Japanese brands, once fixtures in American communities, are quietly reducing their presence or even exiting the US market altogether. Just a decade ago, such a move would have been unthinkable. Dealerships that once bustled with activity now stand empty, their signs fading reminders of a different era. This shift signals a major turning point in the global auto industry. The balance of power is changing, and the ripple effects are being felt not just in boardrooms but in factories, showrooms, and households around the world. Why are these once dominant brands retreating from a market they helped shape? The reasons are complex and interconnected, involving everything from economic headwinds to evolving consumer preferences. The answer lies in a web of factors: shifting consumer tastes toward larger vehicles like SUVs and trucks, the rapid rise of electric vehicles, fierce competition from both established and emerging automakers, and the tough business decisions that come with adapting to a new era. Japanese automakers are being forced to rethink their strategies in real time. This isn't just about cars, it's about economics, culture, and the very future of mobility. The choices automakers make today will shape how people live, work, and move for decades to come. The impact of these changes is far-reaching. Workers on assembly lines, dealership employees, and most importantly you, the American car buyer, are all feeling the effects. The vehicles available, the prices you pay, and the brands you trust are all in flux. Walk into a dealership today, and you might notice fewer options with some familiar names missing from the showroom floor. The landscape is shifting, and the choices you've come to expect may soon be a thing of the past. In this series, we'll break down what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for the future of driving in America. We'll hear from experts, industry insiders, and everyday drivers to paint a complete picture of this pivotal moment. The United States has long been the most important overseas market for Japanese automakers, a place where their innovations and values found a receptive audience. Their success here shaped not just their own fortunes but the entire global auto industry. Now, stepping back from this crucial market is a bold and risky move. It's a sign of just how challenging and unpredictable the current environment has become, with new competitors and technologies rewriting the rules of the game. From the meteoric rise of electric vehicles to the continued dominance of trucks and SUVs, the definition of automotive success is being rewritten. Japanese automakers must adapt or risk being left behind. To understand where we're headed, let's look back at how this incredible journey began. How Japanese cars won over America, and why, after decades of success, the industry now stands at a crossroads. The story of Japanese automakers in America is far from over, but the next chapter will look very different from the last. Japanese cars first made their mark in America in a way that would change the nation's roads forever. In the early 1970s, few Americans had ever driven a Toyota or Honda, and Japanese vehicles were often seen as curiosities, small, unassuming, and different from the big, powerful American cars that dominated the highways. But everything changed during the oil crisis of the 1970s. Suddenly, the country was gripped by fuel shortages, and long lines at gas stations became a daily reality for millions of drivers. Gas prices soared to unprecedented levels, and Americans, used to cheap fuel, found themselves searching for alternatives. The need for smaller, more efficient cars became urgent, and the old gas guzzlers no longer made sense for everyday life. Japanese automakers stepped in with models like the Honda Civic and Toyota Corolla, cars that were not only fuel-efficient and affordable, but also, crucially, reliable. These vehicles offered a new kind of value, promising to save money at the pump and on repairs. Unlike many American cars of the era, which were often plagued by mechanical issues and frequent breakdowns, Japanese vehicles rarely left their owners stranded. Their reputation for dependability quickly set them apart. Word spread quickly, as satisfied owners shared their experiences with friends and neighbors. Soon, these brands became household names, and owning a Japanese car became a symbol of smart, practical decision-making. Japanese companies didn't stop there. They invested heavily in U.S. factories, creating thousands of American jobs and building cars tailored specifically to local tastes and needs. This move helped them win over even more customers. The Honda Accord and Toyota Camry soon became bestsellers, evolving from foreign imports to mainstream family sedans that could be found in driveways across the country. They set new standards for what Americans expected from their cars. From the 1980s through the early 2000s, Japanese brands defined an era of driving in America. Their formula was simple: efficiency, affordability, and unmatched reliability. These qualities resonated with generations of drivers. This customer-focused approach built loyalty that lasted for decades. Many families bought Japanese cars again and again, passing them down from one generation to the next. They weren't just selling cars, they were selling peace of mind, a sense of security that your car would start every morning and get you where you needed to go, no matter what. That foundation of trust makes their recent struggles and retreats from the US market all the more surprising. For decades, Japanese automakers were the gold standard, and their story on American roads is one of innovation, adaptation, and lasting impact. Even at their peak, cracks began to show for some Japanese automakers. While giants like Toyota and Honda thrived, smaller brands like Isuzu and Suzuki struggled. With limited product lines and resources, they couldn't keep up with bigger rivals or changing market demands. Isuzu's rugged SUVs lost ground as the market shifted toward comfort and family-friendly features. Without strong passenger car sales, Isuzu exited the US in 2009. Suzuki, known for small affordable cars, faced rising costs and stricter regulations. Their technology lagged and they couldn't compete with global giants. These early exits were warning signs. The US market demanded constant innovation and a broad product lineup. Success was never guaranteed, even for Japanese brands. In hindsight, these departures were the first tremors before a much larger industry shakeup. The biggest shift in recent decades? Americans have fallen for SUVs. Sedans, once the backbone of Japanese brands, are now out of favor. Buyers want higher seating, more cargo space, and rugged styling. Features SUVs deliver. Toyota and Honda adapted quickly, launching hits like the Ray V4 and CR-V. Other brands lagged, struggling to pivot from sedans to SUVs. Mazda, Mitsubishi, and Nissan found themselves playing catch-up, investing heavily to develop new SUVs while sedan sales plummeted. This mismatch between what Japanese brands were known for and what Americans wanted created financial strain and forced tough decisions. As automakers raced to build SUVs, another disruption hit: the electric vehicle revolution. Tesla led the charge, and suddenly, the future was electric. Japanese brands pioneered hybrids, but many hesitated to go fully electric. The market leapfrogged hybrids, demanding pure EVs. Japanese automakers, slow to shift, found themselves behind as US, European, and Chinese brands rolled out dozens of new EVs. The cost of catching up, building new factories, developing platforms, securing raw materials, was daunting. For some, the US EV market looked too competitive and expensive to enter in a meaningful way. The US auto market is more competitive than ever. Japanese brands now face fierce rivals from all directions. South Korean automakers Hyundai and Kia have transformed into major players, offering stylish, tech-packed vehicles at competitive prices. European luxury brands have introduced affordable models, luring buyers away from top-trim Japanese cars. Newcomers like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid are shaking up the market, especially in EVs. Chinese automakers, though not yet dominant in the US, loom as a future threat. For Japanese brands, the battlefield is crowded and unforgiving. Ultimately, staying in the US comes down to business math. Shifting tastes, high-tech investment, and brutal competition have made profits elusive for some Japanese brands. Maintaining a national sales and service network is costly. Weak sales lead to struggling dealerships, which in turn hurt sales even more. Marketing is expensive, and if sales volume drops, the cost per car skyrockets. Boards and shareholders see better returns in other markets. Brands like Mitsubishi have scaled back in the US to focus on regions where they're stronger. It's not total failure, it's a strategic retreat. For American car buyers, fewer Japanese brands means less choice. Intense competition has kept prices down and quality up. As brands leave, that could change. Owners of cars from departing brands may face challenges with service, parts, and resale value. However, there are also opportunities. Dealers often offer big discounts to clear out inventory. For savvy buyers, this can mean great deals if you're willing to accept the risks. The key takeaway: research not just the car, but the brand's long-term prospects before you buy. The era of Japanese dominance in America is over, but the story isn't finished. Japanese automakers have shaped the American landscape for decades, bringing reliability, efficiency, and innovation to millions of drivers. While their overwhelming market share may have peaked, their influence remains deeply woven into the fabric of American car culture. The strongest brands, Toyota and Honda, will remain major players thanks to deep resources, loyal customers, and a reputation for quality that's hard to match. These companies have built trust over generations, and their commitment to evolving with the times keeps them at the forefront. They're investing heavily in SUVs, hybrids, and accelerating their electric vehicle plans to adapt to changing consumer demands and stricter environmental regulations. Their new models showcase cutting-edge technology, advanced safety features, and a focus on sustainability. For smaller brands like Mitsubishi and Subaru, the future is uncertain. They face tough competition from both American and European automakers, as well as new entrants from Korea and China. Some may find success in niche markets, appealing to enthusiasts who value unique designs, performance, or off-road capabilities. Others may focus on specific segments or form global alliances to survive, leveraging partnerships to share technology and reduce costs. The biggest test is electrification. Those who master EVs and autonomous technology could regain lost market share, while laggards may fade into obscurity. The race to develop affordable, reliable electric cars is more intense than ever. The American car buyer will likely see fewer Japanese options on dealership lots as the market becomes more crowded and competitive. But the brands that remain will be the most resilient and innovative, pushing boundaries with new technology, eco-friendly materials, and smarter mobility solutions. The golden age may be over, but the fight for the American driver's heart continues. Japanese cars still symbolize reliability and value, and their legacy endures on highways across the nation. The road ahead is challenging, filled with new obstacles and opportunities as the industry transforms. But the story of Japanese cars in America is far from over. As long as there are drivers seeking quality, innovation, and dependability, Japanese automakers will continue to play a vital role in shaping the future of American roads.